Good morning, friends, followers, channel members. Welcome to Rome. And following our world update yesterday, we obviously did our flight last night here in Italy, but it was nighttime, so we didn't actually get to enjoy too much of the scenery. Beautiful approach, though, into Naples. If you were with us last night, if you were, thank you for joining us and joining us this morning. So we've seen the Fenix now for a couple of days. We've seen how well she handles all the advanced systems, or not all of them, absolutely not all of them, but many of the advanced systems that we have on board the Fenix. What I have yet to showcase for you is any other kind of approach other than the ILS. So we thought, well, let's try using an RNP approach today to showcase the final approach mode that works. Where should we go and do that? Well, everyone likes Innsbruck, don't they? Except pilots. Everyone loves an Innsbruck approach. So why not? And what a perfect route from Rome up to Innsbruck. Flight time is around 1 hour and 7 minutes, something like that. So not too long. Means we can enjoy the scenery as well whilst we're en route. So good morning to everyone. We're also doing a morning stream as well here in the UK. I haven't done one of these yet with the Fenix, so if you are watching elsewhere in the world and this is a much better time for you guys to see that, then obviously that will hopefully benefit you guys. If you are like me in the UK and watching this, then you're going to be skiving off school or work, presumably, which we don't condone, but thanks for joining us. So welcome guys into the chat. Barry, Mark, Jusan, Jer. Hey mate, I've not seen you for a while. Good to have you back on board. Also saying you're definitely going to be using the external EFB when flying this aircraft. Yeah, absolutely. And the only reason I don't use the external electronic flight bag, the external tablet on my external tablet, is of course because you wouldn't actually then be able to see what I'm doing. One of the things that I'm sure the devs will be looking at in the future, the external tablet is great, but it's not actually linked up to the tablet then in the simulator. So if I'm doing things on my actual physical tablet, then it's not actually changing what's on the tablet in the aircraft, so you can't see what I'm doing. That's the only reason I'm not using the external tablet at the moment. But for you guys, obviously not. If you're not streaming, then that is definitely the way to go. Finnish Sims Pilot, good morning to you as well. Nick, hi mate, how you doing? Right, let's get on board and we'll start setting some things up then, shall we? Cold and dark this morning. As you can see, I've got the tablet already turned on, just so we can access some of the ground services. Just having a look. We are on VATSIM, but there isn't any ATC, so we'll not have to worry too much about that. Angus McTavish, good morning to you as well. What an amazing bird, and thank God our captain is out of the 737. I was starting to look a little bit too comfortable in there. I did like the challenge. It was the challenge of something new, something different systems that I had to try and get my head around of. Obviously compared to Airbus, but now we've got this Fenix coming soon. Then there are of course a lot of systems here too that we need to get our heads around. Chalty, good morning, mate. I hope you're well. Spicy Buffalo, you want me to open the window? Well, I'll tell you what I will do. I'll just hop across. Should we open the first officer's window? The reason being, there we go. Don't let me forget to close that before we depart. The reason being, I can't operate the tablet here and open the window, obviously. Oh, hang on. No, I can do that, but my tablet's all the way back here. That's no good. It's the blinds. You can't operate the blinds while the tablet's there. You need to remove the tablet before you put the sun visor down. So let me just go ahead and close that back and lock that back in place. There we go. So before we add power to the aircraft, let's just make sure everything's in the correct place. Overhead obviously is all powered down. We're just going to check things like landing gear lever and spoilers, flaps, thrust levers. They're all, and parking brake of course, they're all in the right position, so we can go ahead and look to start powering up the aircraft. GPU is connected and external power is available. So let's turn that on. Battery 26.9, 27.4. That's good. We don't need a recharge. So we'll get battery 1 and 2 turned on. I'm still trying to find a good balance level-wise with this aircraft with regards a little bit of background music, which we obviously turn off for departure and things. The voice, my voice, and of course the sounds from the aircraft. So do let me know how you feel that balance is all set. Obviously it's a different aircraft, different setup. So I've got the external power coming on, crew oxygen supply, turn the ground control on, CRV test. There we go. Start aligning the ideas. Get the lights on, nav logo lights. Following my EasyJet SOPs, keep the packs off. We haven't loaded any fuel, we need to refuel so the fuel pumps can stay off for the time being. Has anyone heard the clicks? I can't do the fire test until we've heard those. So I'll just give that a minute. There we go. There are the 3 clicks. Now we can go ahead and do the tests. So APU, engine 1 and engine 2. Guru KN, you ask a very good question there. So do EasyJet not put the strobes to auto for the setup? They do. So to do it correctly, you're quite right, strobes there should be set to auto. There is a simulator reason that I don't do that, and that is because for some reason when flying on VATSIM, when you put the strobes to auto, other players on VATSIM looking at your aircraft will see your strobe lights on and flashing, so we'd have our strobes on here at the gate, which obviously doesn't look good. Looks like we've made a mistake, doesn't it, to other players? So just for the simulator, I leave those turned off. But yes, you're quite right. Normally strobes would be set to auto. So overhead is overhead's all good. Right, let's get the weather for today, and then we'll set up the standby instruments. Anti-skid is on. So we'll go to My Flight, we'll import the flight plan from SimBrief. Now I may need to amend the departure time, 22 minutes. I'm not going to be out of here in 22 minutes. So can we go in and amend that? Yes, we can. What time is it now? It's 10:08 Zulu. I reckon let's give myself a little bit of time as well, because I don't want to rush things. Let's go with 10:50. Update that. 42 minutes. Okay, so that's a little bit more realistic. So let's go ahead and get our METAR. Departure, Cav OK, 1018. Still flying the old bird today with the analog gauges. There we are. Here's an interesting question. Why are these two screens not on? I would have expected those to have come on by now. If we want to check if anything has failed, we can go to the maintenance page, check failures. IR2, IR1, IR3 failure. I don't know if that is just showing because we've not actually got them aligned yet, but the screens should certainly be on. They're turned up. We shall give that a few minutes, see if they come to life. see what happens. Anyway, switching panel is normal. Guard frequency on VHF2 121.5. And flight deck door currently open. Stop that timer there. There we go. Let's come up to the FCU. QNH 101. Was it 18 or 19? 1018. And our initial climb out today is going to be flight level 110. Go ahead and set that whilst I'm up here. There we go. Right, we'll start setting up the box. If these have failed for some reason, you can call maintenance. But I'm going to wait and see what happens once the air alignment is finished. I wouldn't have expected these to have failed for some reason, so interesting to see. We can turn them off and turn them back on again. That is an Airbus thing to do. So turn those all the way off. You can see me zooming out as I get to the end of as far as they will turn. Right, so they are off. Let's now try turning them back up. We could have looked to see if a circuit breaker has popped. Let's try the navigation display now, shall we? See if that can come back on. Nope. How are we doing with the air alignment? Still 3 minutes to go. Oh, let's have a look. I've got to find the circuit breakers for these. Are they on? These could be on the overhead or no. Let's have a quick look. Flight controls, fuel, doors, seats, anti-ice air bleed, icing. They could be on the overhead up here then. Air conditioning, flight controls, auto-flight, engine, fuel, nav, lighting, oxygen. I can't see anything that's popped anyway. They all look to be in their place. Trying to pan around here to have a look. One of the best ways of seeing if anything's popped is to just try and sort of get alongside, have a look up and look down, and again can't see anything obvious there. Don't know if you guys did. If you did, shout. We'll see what happens. What I can do if need be is I can just reset the panel state, but we'll carry on for the moment. So QNH is 1018, winds 2707, cav is okay. Arrival in Innsbruck. Winds light and variable. Fuel cloud 6500. No significant changes. QNH 1024. Right, well, let me just turn the primary flight display one up as well. Right, so both are on. These are for the lights, not the two panels. So yeah, don't worry about that being set to off. Onto our mass and balance page then. We're going to start getting passengers on board in a minute. I need to start the APU before we can do that due to COVID. Pre-COVID, of course, you didn't used to start the APU until about 10 minutes before pushing back. Airports were very strict on this due to noise and pollution regulations, but with COVID, we want to get as much air into the cabin as we can. Mohammed, don't worry, music will disappear before we start engines and get going. Nick, the circuit breakers Echo 1, Echo 4, are they the ones we're looking for? Someone's reading the QRH. So what we're going to do, should we just pull them out and reset them and hope for them hope they come to life? Echo 1, 2, 3 and 4. Go on then. I will pop these. Oh, I've clicked something. What have I just clicked? Have I just dropped out the there's that many click spots in this aircraft. Was it Joshua? Thank you, Joshua. Right. Right, so we've just popped those out, so now they shouldn't be on. We'll wait 5 seconds. I will try and pop them back in. We've no primary flight display or navigation display HD. Where's it gone? Right, let's put those back in. No, I wonder if there's a sim issue for some reason, because they are aligned as well now. Okay, well that's something that that we can report to the devs. As I say, remember this is a release candidate version, it is not the final version. Right, we can mitigate this, and what we will do is we'll just go back to our panel states. Was this a planned failure? Okay guys, hopefully you can hear me. We're back up. Streamlabs had a complete meltdown during that. It brought the PC to a halt, and yeah, so rather than quickly just refiring it back up, I restarted the PC because, well, when you've had a crash to desktop or something's gone wrong, always better just to start fresh. Anyway, the flight simulator is opening back up now. Hopefully it shouldn't take too long. And I just need to check you guys can actually hear me. Hopefully you guys can hear me and see us starting back up again. Daniel wanted to add that you can move backwards and forwards in the cockpit with Shift W or Shift S. Oh right, okay. Oh, that's good, because I've been able to move left and right, but moving forward and backward has been a little bit of a pain. Oh great guys, you can hear us. We're loud and clear. All we need to do is wait for this to start up again. It's a good job I haven't got too much on today. Those familiar with the channel will know that normally I'm quite time constrained. I'm alright at the moment, so we should be good today. We will get ourselves into Innsbruck. Zhao, what did you miss? You just missed the PC grind to a halt. Streamlabs throw its dummy out the pram and wreck my stream. That's about it. You haven't missed much else. So I'm just going to get the simulator up and running, concentrate on that, and we hadn't really started loading. We'd not started loading anything. We hadn't done anything, so no one's missed a thing. I'm going to select the panel state. We'll select the panel state. Turn around with the GPU connected, and then we'll get going again. So sorry about that, guys. Just means the stream's going to last a little longer than planned. I mean, that's not a bad thing, right? I'm always interested to know when I do streams in the middle of the day what everybody's doing. Are you working from home? That's in inverted commas, as of course. Trip 500 says, looks like you picked the wrong week to quit drinking. Oh, what a classic film. The Husanja, you completely missed World Update 9. Did you? Oh. I found the update for World Update 9 completely different to any I had previously. It was easier. I just fired up the simulator, it downloaded the little update there, and then you went into the marketplace to download the full content packages. Thought that was much easier. So, Christian, your workday is over already. That is a good... What time did you start, mate? Mike's Basement, you're taking care of your 10-year-old son who is homesick. Oh no, well, hopefully he's just chilled out on the sofa watching us try and fly virtual airplanes. Trip 500, make sure to reboot your computer now and then to reduce or stop crash the desktops in flight sim. Yeah, so that's why the restart took so long. I rebooted the PC completely. So this is just like a fresh launch. That makes sense. Sim Toolkit Pro, good morning to you. Klaus Kroner, you're on your lunch break. Oh, of course, you're an hour ahead of us. Von McLean, you sat in the office with the iPad on. Bluetooth headphones, yeah? So people can't see just how much you're not working. Sale Wesley is skiving off work today. Mike's Basement also doing a flight from Dubai to Frankfurt in the A350 and doing the launch at the same time. That's the great thing about long haul flights, isn't it? You can get loads done. Air Gandhi, you start at 1 PM. Still able to catch the approach though, hopefully. Ooh, we might be pushing that, Air Gandhi. Maybe if we'd not had an issue on launching the stream. We will have to see. So Max Basement Innsbruck, isn't that the approach that's a little bit tricky because of all the mountains around the airport? Well, given the features that the A320 has, both in the Fenix and real life, we can use the final approach mode for the RNP approach, which should safely navigate us around all of those mountains. But you're right, no approach is unsafe. There is no such thing as an unsafe approach, otherwise it wouldn't be legal. Mind you, Paro does come to mind as I say that out loud. No approach should be unsafe, otherwise you just wouldn't do it. Felix Bull, you sat on the couch after a day at school. Excellent. Mark, working at home has many advantages. Being able to watch streams is one of them. Indeed. Yeah. Nicholas Hansen, good morning to you. Another beautiful day showcasing the Fenix capabilities. Hopefully, as long as my streaming software holds out, that is the plan. Do you guys find as well that after you've had an issue in a crash desktop or anything, that you the next launch of the sim is considerably slower than previous? Oh, actually, we didn't crash to. I didn't crash to desktop. I actually closed the simulator down. It didn't crash. Otherwise, it would have asked if I wanted to go into safe mode or not, and obviously it didn't. Josh, you have a second year university maths exam at 2 p.m. Not looking forward to it. Oh wow, Josh, you need your heads. Have you got your heads in your book, or is it too late now? If you know it, you know it. If you don't, you don't. UK Rail TV, did the plane suck up all of my RAM? No, absolutely not. The aircraft. Well, we've seen the aircraft handling much more difficult things than being sat on the ramp alone in Rome. For instance, when we were in Manchester the other day, the amount of VATSIM traffic on there was unbelievable, and we've had absolutely, and it handled that beautifully, no problems at all. There was no traffic in Rome. There was no one around us, The only other thing I can think of is because it's a new world update, there could also have been perhaps a bit of conflict between some of the sceneries. I did clear rolling cache out as well though, so that might have helped. But I think it would be really nice and handy if Asobo sort of came out and said, look, with old issues, with new sceneries and new downloads and things, this is what can cause a conflict. To eradicate that, then perhaps remove everything from the community folder, loading clean, there she is, there's the Phoenix, loading clean, and then exit the sim, load back in, just to sort of, I don't know, reset everything. Right, where were we? Here. Let's set her up. Maybe maintenance will have fixed my primary flight display and navigation display as well when we get in there. That'd be kind of nice. Charlie, does the Phoenix fetch departure times and preliminary load sheets from SimBrief? Yes, it does. And you can edit them if you want to. So, for instance, I'm definitely going to be editing my departure time now. Because we should have departed... we should have departed in around 9 minutes. That's not going to happen. Barry, the stream's still showing the apologies for the delay message. Yeah, I'm still apologising for the delay. But I will get rid of that. Thank you. Nick, the overlay is not on yet. No, you're right. I just want to concentrate on making sure that the less things running in the background on the PC, then we'll get it going. Is the FPS in the Phoenix better than the fly-by-wire? I'd say they're comparable, but everybody's hardware that is different, isn't it? Oh, Christian, be quiet. I honestly can't remember the last time I had a CTD. Jed, am I going to do a real-time setup, or am I going to push it due to the delay? You've got to do everything in real time. I'll still load the passengers in real time, stuff like that. As I say, I've got the ability and the timetable to do that today, and I don't think the Phoenix is the kind of aircraft that I should rush on with anyway. The whole idea of the Phoenix is to fly this amazing aircraft properly. So that is exactly what I plan to do. Max Basement, as far as you know, they're not finished optimizing the fly-by-wire. No, I mean, it's been developed all of the time, isn't it? The fly-by-wire is developed. So when they finally do finish it, when on earth that would ever be, then would be the time to say, right, we'll stop. Now we'll go in and we'll optimize things. Right, so I'm going to set up the aircraft in not in the cold and dark state, but with the turnaround APU. So I'm going to activate that, and we'll just leave that to go for a minute. Charlie M, over 1,000 people flying airplanes every day. I forgot about that. The dev team have had a laugh with the loading tips at the bottom of the screen, and I don't think I can't recall if I've actually showcased those off before. There's a few crackers in there. I'm trying to think of some of them now, but I can't. Something like Airbus is a derivative of the word air and bus. Sometimes the tooltips don't show in full for no and that was it. Mike Smithman, if you can run the GTX 1070 Ti on a Ti, you can run the fly-by-wire, then you should be okay with this. So you can hear everything's coming up, running it in a turnaround state. I'm going to check, is the GPU going to be running in that turnaround state? Not the GPU, the APU. Yes, it is. So everything is now coming on. I'm just having a quick look. I'm going to turn those strobes back to off, just for VATSIM, of course, as I spoke about a little bit earlier. So the everything's aligned up there. The fire tests, we wouldn't do those on the turnaround. The fuel pumps are off, ready for refueling. APU is running. You can refuel with APU running as well, so that's okay. That's fine. We're just going to uncage the standby. There we go, and I think, there we go, look, our screens are working as well. I think we're all good to go. Let me just go through a setup because I don't want to make sure I've missed anything. So first off, let's go grab the flight plan again. Oh, look at that. We're already 16 minutes late. I mean, technically, shall I just leave this? We're gonna get yelled at by Fenix Ops. Should we just leave it? Okay, we're 16 minutes late. It's 16 minutes late, and we're probably gonna be much later. Let's leave it. Okay. Cav OK 1018. Let's go ahead and put those in. Right, and fingers crossed then, guys. We're back. So cancel that. There we go. 1018. And squawk is 2000. 1018 up here. Our initial climb is going to be 11,000. Go ahead and set that as well. Company message. Is this going to be asking why I'm late already? Let's find out. Oh no, it's our preliminary load sheet. That's fine. Is there a delay code for a sim restart? Best thing is to switch photogrammetry off if using an old PC. It makes a huge difference. That is a good point. This part of the world now has got photogrammetry, isn't it? I tell you what I am going to do, and this really does help. If you are suffering with crash to desktops, I'm not going to turn the photogrammetry off, but what I'm going to do is very quickly, here you can see my settings. Very quickly, I'm just going to lower a couple of things. So sort of terrain level of detail, we'll just drop that by 10. And anything else that you can just sort of trade off with, even shadow maps for example. If you can just knock a couple of things off, it really can help with stability. So there we go. We'll see how we get on with that. Right, so we've got all that set up. Let's have a look at our flight route. There it is. 428 miles straight up over Italy into Innsbruck. Right, the APU's up and running. Let's come to the ground services. GPU's not connected, doesn't need to be. APU's handling that. We'll get the doors open. Don't need to connect the tug just yet. So doors are open. We'll go to our mass and balance page. So we've got 162 angry passengers because we're late. Planned fuel. Right, so plug fuel when going to Innsbruck. The weather in Innsbruck is great, but we're going somewhere which poses its own challenges. So we, of course, are not going to be taking plug fuel. In fact, in case of because even the go around here is much longer than normal because of the valley, etc. So let's be sensible. You know what? Let's be over conservative. Let's take 7.5 tons of fuel. So we'll go and edit that. I'm just making a note of what we are loading, so I've got it. 7.5 tons of fuel. There we go. Right, we're ready now to load the aircraft, and we'll do it in real time. Okay, so if we can be out of here by the time in the next 27 minutes, all set up, then that would be great. Refueling panel is open, Seatbelt signs are off, aren't they? Yeah. Right, we'll accept our preliminary load sheet. Let's start setting up. So, 3 nav green, aircraft status, valid AirX cycle, still valid for the next 4 days. Init B page. HD, there is a landing distance calculator. Yes, there is. And we're going to do a dispatch calculation because of the extra fuel that I've just thrown on. Alternate is Munich. Our flight number today is Fenix 320. Cost index for our departure. Do you guys want a copy of the operational flight plan as well? I can give you that. Bear with me 1 second. And I'll pop that in. There you go. So that's there for you, and I'll pin that as well. Replace the pin message at the top. Done. So there's our flight plan today, so you can work along with what we're doing. So we've got a cost index today of 29. Flight level is 300, and temperature will be minus 42. Tropo 41262. And then the flight plan page. So we're going to be departing runway 24. No, we're not. 25. And it's the... well, the plan's actually got the Sosiv 6 Romeo, but I'm going to take the slightly shorter route, which is the 5 Alpha. Just here. And the transition is the Sovan transition. If... is that there? I need the charts. To the Sovan 7 Alpha, isn't it? Why is that not there? Well, that's interesting. If I don't know which one it is, going up to Sussex, and then from... have I got the right one in here? Should be the Sosiv 5 Alpha. Oh, I've put the wrong one in. There. Should be this one. Sosiv 5 Alpha, 7 Alpha. There we go. Right, that's the departure. Let's have a look at the arrival, which is going to be the RNP runway 08 Rnav Yankee, and that's via the Brno 4 Bravo. Insert. (381), and I've got 406 on the flight plan. That's okay, because the flight plan, let me just show you, the flight plan had got this departure route in, and just to save a bit of time, I've popped in this one. So those extra track miles have now been cut off, and because of the slight confusion on entering that, I'm just going to check we've got this all correct. So the 5 Alpha, 410 feet. Yep, 410 feet. It's then to Rome 792, 706, 707, then 708 in Sosiv. 708 Sosiv, flight level 110, done. And then on the navigation display, once again, I can just flick through to see the arrival and make sure all of that is correct. Yep, that looks good. We'll obviously check all that in a bit more detail and work out how we're going to do the approach once we're in the cruise, but happy with that. Let me check, do we have any VORs on this? If there are, it's not shown on that chart, it'll most likely be shown on an arrival chart. And are they normally? I don't know what they're currently landing on, but we'll pop on 34 left for an arrival if we are not 34 left. That wouldn't be right. It'd be 1/6 left, wouldn't it? Let me have a quick look. So there's the Oscar Tango Sierra, and that should be auto-tuned. Oscar Sierra Tango. Yeah, that's auto-tuned as well. Not going to use any more. So onto the init B page. So off the flight plan, our zero fuel weight should be 59.3. And this is where HD and I are just working out how we're going to do this to make it as close to real light stops as possible. So for now, I've popped in the zero fuel weight off the operational flight plan. I've just popped in a zero fuel weight center of gravity of 30 until we get the final load sheet. Winds. I forgot we can do this. Let me download the winds. That's done. Planned fuel then. So the aircraft says it's going to be 4.3, and we've got 7.5 tons. Alternate is 1.5 tons. Which gives us an extra 50 minutes of flight time. I have thrown extra fuel on today, but it's Innsbruck, so that's why. Onto our performance page then. So obviously we're still loading. Let's go ahead and jump to our departure calculation. So we're going to be departing off runway 25. It's drive course. Config 1. Don't need to force toga. Anti-ice will be off. Packs will be off. Planned takeoff weight, according to the init B, at the moment is 66.6. Let's go with 67 tons. And the CFG that we've got entered, of course, at the moment, we'll go and revise this, is 30. Sync the live weather. And now, are we going to go for an intersection departure or not? Let's have a quick look and see the layout of the airport. So no, I don't think so. Well, it's going to be full length, which is either Bravo Bravo or Bravo Alpha. So we'll just select full length. There we go, 152, 152, 153. We'll go ahead and pop that in. And thank you so much for your 5 US dollar donation. My apologies, I cannot read Japanese, so I cannot say your name. But really kind of you saying good evening from Japan. Donate and like, watch the streams, but subscribe is too far. No problem. Thank you so much for your kind donation and contribution to the stream. Really, really generous of you. So Haiti says we can use 66.6, be as accurate as we can. No need to increase it yet. Obviously, wait until we get that final load sheet. Okay, let's go for that then. 666. Oh, the calculation's been done, so I actually can't run that. I need to reset that. So I can change that 66. I should be able to change that. 66.6. I'm going to pop that in as to what it was. Runway 25. No. Off. Set that config 1. Hacks off. Live weather. And full length. There we go. So it's going to be 151, 151, 153. Transition altitude here in row is 6,000 feet. Thrust reduction and acceleration is 1,010. And engine out acceleration the same. Flaps 1 and the flex is 66. There we go. Alright, on to the secondary flight plan. HD, where have I got that MAC value from? Which one? The 30? Isn't that the one we're just putting in until we get the final load sheet? I'll let you come back to that. Let's have a look at the engine out procedure for Rome. Now I don't know if SimSmart's got the engine out procedure for this. Find out in a second. Now obviously this is a takeoff calculator for the Neo, so I don't actually need any of the values this is going to give me, but I am going to see if we've got the engine out procedure here. There it is. So there's our engine out procedure. It's a standard engine out procedure. So let's go ahead and pop that into the secondary flight plan. 1,600 feet, a right hand turn to the Oscar Sierra Tango, VOR, radial 289, 19 miles DME, and then the holding point. God, this is convoluted. Right, let's see if we get this one in correctly. So, secondary flight plan, let's copy the active. And then what I'm going to do is I'm not going to put in an engine out waypoint just here, because the last time we did that it actually deleted the departure runway. Don't want to do that. So we're going to pop it into this second one here. So that engine out procedure, let me have a look. I have to get my head around this one. So somewhere sensible, maybe 10 miles out from the runway. It's straight out, so we've got no turns to make. So we're going to pop in a waypoint 10 miles out from our departure runway. And the heading is 247, so the place is LERF 25. So HD says that we can actually call it the EOSID. To do that, I'd have to go into the waypoints page and then put it in, because I think what should happen is if you pop in a waypoint here that obviously doesn't exist, it calls it place bearing distance, doesn't it? Rather, and it may be able to give you the option of adding a name to it. So straight out would be 247, and let's say 10 miles away. So that is effectively, that's our engine out procedure. We're going to get there. HD, no, it doesn't go straight to the define page. No, it just calls it straight place bearing distance 01. So that's the only reason that I'm doing this way. So after we have done that, oops, wrong app. After we've done that, we're then going to make a right-hand turn. So just to test what HD is talking about, if we pop in engine out SID, that's a waypoint name which probably doesn't exist. If we go there, oh, we can't. Yeah, I see. Ah, we could have done it that way. Right, okay, we'll know for next time that we can do it that way. Let's just go back to our secondary flight plan. Right, so that is our initial engine out waypoint, and then from there we're going to go to the Oscar Sierra Tango VOR. Now the Oscar Sierra Tango VOR, if we actually have a look at the go around procedure for this this runway, I'm going to bet it looks very similar. Yeah, there it is, look. So we would need to intercept the 289 radial. So we're going to pop in then the Oscar Sierra Tango. Now, how to actually code in intercepting a radial at this point, what perhaps I could do is enter the next radial, enter the next waypoint, which is Oscar Sierra Tango, and have it at a 109 radial out, so sort of, I don't know, so maybe sort of 8 miles away, just here. Wouldn't be a bad idea. So then we'd take off, turn right, and then come to intercept the radial. Why we'd have to turn right to intercept it, I'm not entirely sure why we'd need to do that, but never mind. So just to keep things simple, I am then just going to pop in the Oscar Sierra Tango radial after here. So Oscar Sierra Tango goes there. Check that frequency. 1-1. Oh, it's the. Is that a waypoint or a VOR? Ah, hang on a minute. No, we need to create a fix, don't we? I see the mistake I've made. So this is a place in space based off distance 19 miles from. Right. Okay. All right. Let's go back because the pen has just dropped. Right. So what we're going to do then now after that is we are going to pop in Oscar Sierra Tango at a distance of 19 miles. Which I've put in the wrong order. The bearing is 109. No, it isn't. It's the other way around. 289 and 19 miles. That is when we're now going to compute a hold. And the hold is 109 right turns. That is probably one of the most difficult ones I've ever had to program. And I am still getting used to programming this with the secondary flight plan because it's brand new. So now let's have a look at what our secondary flight plan looks like. There we go. So that is our engine out procedure. Straight out to our first created point. We've just said 10 miles there because it's a standard engine out procedure, so we can just fly straight and level till we've secured the engine and we're happy and we're above 1600 feet. After that then, we then can go and enter a hold at this place in space, which isn't a waypoint. It's not a waypoint name. It's not anywhere that you can specifically type in and define. It is just a point 19 miles off on a radial of 289 from the Oscar Sierra Tango VOR. Right, hopefully I haven't confused everyone as much as I was doing. that now makes sense. All the passengers will be bored and waiting for their drinks now. Right, that's all done. We've got our engine out procedure done. Has our final load sheet come? No, not yet, so they must still be loading. Right, in that case, now is a good time then to do our departure brief. Is that a left hold in there? It should be a right hold. Let me go in and amend that. Did I type left? I thought I typed right in there. Right, clear the hold. Try that again. Course is 109. And it should be a right hold. Return. That's better. There we are. And then if we need to arrive, we will then put a new destination, which will be our departure destination. And can we pop in 16 right as the arrival? ILS 16 left. Does 16 right not have a VOR? An ILS? Oh, yes it does. 16 right ILS Yankee. Is that the only one available for 16 right? Check the charts to make sure it matches up with the database. 16 right Zulu. There we go. No stars and no veers. Done. And this is what confused me the other day as well. This is now the go-around track. If we did have a problem after departure, we've now got the go-around track showing here as well. So there's our engine out track. We'd then come back into land. If we then had to go around, this is our go-around track, which is automatically shown. So this is the kind of stuff that the Fenix aircraft, it's all there, it's all in there, and even I have got to now try and get my head around all this, all the new stuff, because it's obviously much closer to real life. It's great to see it. It's great to see it all in there. But yeah, it's it's just complicated. We'll get faster as we go along, but perhaps it's not a bad thing me doing this slowly, so you guys can see the complexities of the system the Fenix aircraft has got. Morted, Thank you so much for gifting 5 EasyJet SimPilot memberships. That is incredibly kind of you. Gifted those to Ollie, Shipbeast, Ivhad, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Georgie, and Matthias. Thank you so much. That is incredibly generous. Thank you for your support, guys. That is absolutely wonderful. Really kind of you, Moritz. Thank you so much. Hope you don't mind that we're delayed this morning. Even more delayed now while I get my head around that convoluted missed approach and engine out procedure. Okay, that's done. Bear in mind, do you know what's not frustrating? But do you know all this that I've just set up? We will hopefully not have to use it. We will never have to use it because everything will be fine on departure. Right, let's talk about our brief then, shall we? So the weather here in where are we? Rome. The weather in Rome, gorgeous. Lots of nice long runways. So if we need to return here, of course we can do. And our takeoff weight is it's about a ton above the maximum landing weight. However, given the takeoff, etc., entering the hold, I'm sure we'd have burnt that off. So coming back in here would be absolutely fine. Aircraft is the A320 CAO Phoenix, and it is fully serviceable. Everything working. No NOTAMs for our departure today. Threats to be aware of. New systems. Me learning the new systems. Minimum safe altitude on departure is 5,800 feet. There is terrain to the north of the field, of course, as we can just see here. That's why our holding points and engine out procedures keep us nice and safe over the sea, mitigating the fact that we don't need to climb quite so much. Moritz says, love the content, can't wait to fly the Phoenix yourself, keep up the great content. You are more than welcome, thank you so much. HD, if we can have a remote McDo, then I could just remote it to you. I think you'd have to be on the same Wi-Fi network as me, I think. That's the only issue. And a dispatch landing calculation. Do you know what? Yeah, why not? Boarding's completed. Let's do that. Let's do a dispatch landing calculation. Again, something else that you have to do prior to departure. As I said, I got the time to do this today, so even though we are delayed, it's okay. We can have a nice long stream. Right, so landing calculation. As far as I'm aware, I don't think I've shown this today to date. So we're going to be at landing runway 08. Weather is good, so dry. We will get the current METAR. So the landing weight is tipped to be just over 62 tons. So if we're going to be conservative with that, should we go with 60? Hang on, it is according to the flight plan. But have we got our dispatch note? Because I'm going to bet that, well, obviously with the extra fuel on it that I've thrown on. Oh, wrong one. AOC, messages. Oh, we've not got the final load sheet yet. Why haven't we got the final load sheet? Is that because I'm in there? No, they've just not given it to me yet. Right, well, our initial landing weight should have been 60, just over 62 tons. However, I've thrown on there the extra fuel. So our landing weight should be 63.6 tons. Let's go with it. So there's our landing weight. We'll use auto brake low. Right, so auto brake low would be fine. Stopping distance would be 1,579. Landing distance available is 1,940. So we're good to go. We can do all of this, and it works. Auto thrust, of course, will also be on. That reduces it a little bit. Manual landing. Is that telling me how good my landing's going to be? It won't be an auto land, will it? So I just need to work out. Right, that's showing manual landing. That would be the auto land distance, presumably. That's the manual landing distance. Everything you're seeing here is what's currently being calculated. So there we go. We can depart. We can use. Oh, hang on, that's medium in that case. Yep. Alright, I'm just getting used to how this works. So that would be max, that would be low. Right, so low is a no, we can't use low. We have to use medium. Minimum is medium. Bear in mind, when it says max manual, remember that that isn't setting the maximum auto brake, because you can't set that in flight. Maximum manual means literally that. It means you applying the brakes manually, either with rudder pedals or whatever button you've got assigned to that. So there we go. I like that. We can land with that, and we're going to use we can use auto brake medium. Our final load sheet still hasn't come through for some reason. Maybe because we're so late. They thought we'd cancelled the flight. Oh, there it is. It has come through. Right, now let's check any revisions. Right, I'm going to do this slowly because yesterday we got ourselves in a little bit of a muddle. Right, so now our actual takeoff weight, it says 66.4. We computed 66.6. That's fine. The takeoff weight CG, $29.3. And you can sync the final load sheet as I just did there. The takeoff weight, I can revert back to what we had, which was 66.6. Got the live weather, and we'll just rerun that calculation. HD, the final load sheet was less than planned, yes. So, hang on, let me try and bring up the two displays so we can see what we've got here. So we've got init B showing there. Let me bring up the load sheet so we can see the differences. Right, here we go. Zero fuel weight is 59.2, so it is 100 grams less than planned. Because it's less, we don't need to do anything. Takeoff weight is also less than planned, so again we don't need to do anything. The only thing we would need to change then, HD can confirm this, the zero fuel weight figure here, would we still change that to 31.3? Is that right? Yeah, I'm not going to redo. I'm not going to put in any new calculation because we are low. I just wanted to check then that the zero fuel weight CFG, is that this one here, 31.3. So we update that to the new value. And that's now done. Right, so now our performance is all valid and correct. We don't need to rerun that because we're actually a little bit lighter than it said we were going to be. I think we might be good. We might be there. Do we need to update zero fuel weight as well? It's 100 grams less, isn't it? Sorry, 100 grams, 100 kilograms less. So we need to change that to 59.2. Clearly some passengers got fed up of waiting. There we are, 59.2. And that's all set. Right. So HC says it is a little bit confusing as they've used Mac as the distinction. Mac and CG mean the same thing. That is what was confusing me. So MAC instead of CG. If it said zero fuel weight CG and takeaway CG, it would be a lot clearer. But again, they're just new things that we're going to try and get our head round over the next few days. Should we try and get out of here? 1228 for Unicom. Let's do our brief with regards to where we're going. So we are pushing back from stand 308, facing north, and then we'll taxi out via Echo Golf, then Delta, and holding at Bravo Bravo for runway 25. So guys, sorry about the delay that we had initially. I know that all this is a little bit in depth, but that's the beauty of the aircraft, and well, the channel's always been dedicated to trying to do things as realistically as possible, not skipping anything. So that's exactly what we're doing, and obviously with the new aircraft, new features, I'm slowly working my way through them and what's available. Soon we'll be able to set up and go in half an hour. Just like they do in the real world. Boarding's complete. All the doors are closed. I just need to check on the ground page that we haven't got anything connected. I don't think we have. We can remove the chocks and cones. And I think we're about ready to push back and start. But before we do that, we should probably run some checklists. So let's make sure the cockpit prep is completed. So the cockpit prep is now complete. Signs are on and auto. Our ideas, we've got 3 nav green. Fuel quantity is 7430 kilograms set and balanced. FMGS is set. Altimeter is 1018. So if we have a tug, we'll call them into position and we'll tell VATSIM traffic what we're doing. Rome traffic, Fenix 320, pushing back, stand 308, facing north. So that is essentially our ATC clearance to push. Get our beacon light on. Nose wheel steering is disconnected, transponder to auto, and the before start checklist below the line. Windows and doors closed and armed. Beacon light is on. Phone is on silent. Parking brake is set. Right, let's release the parking brakes and begin. Back we go. Engine mode selector to start and starting engine 1. Just turn up the volume a little bit. I'm not going to go outside. I'll sit here in the cabin so you guys can hear it. The Fenix does not have a pre-planned pushback feature, but at the moment the toolbar pushback that we really do love just has a little bit of a memory leak in it, which is obviously no good. Now I'm not sure why, but in this aircraft the pushback doesn't like to give me a full complete pushback. It kind of stops me halfway. It did this in Manchester the other day, so I'm going to have a word with the FCC if there's a reason why that's occurring. Let's see if we can discover why that is. But anyway, we'll leave ourselves there. We're not locking anybody in. We're all right. Engine 1's okay. Let's start engine 2. Pushback complete. Parking brake on. Lock the flight deck door. Resnet, can I open the windows? Yeah, you can. You can open the windows. I should have a little listen. We shall close that, of course, before we push off. We can give the ground crew a wave, saying, yeah, thanks guys, sorry for the delay. We'll be out soon. Engine number 2 is stabilised. The wood's coming off, anti-ice is required. On the spoilers, under 0. Flaps 1. CG is 29.4. To start the checklist. Anti-ice is off. Ecam status. Each one to check that, as it makes a difference now. Ecam status is checked. Picture trim is 29.4. Rudder is 0. Do a flight control check. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Full up. Full down. Try that again. Full up. Full down. Neutral rudder, full right rudder, full left, and neutral. The reason we jumped outside then is because as I moved the side stick hit my cup of tea, which in turn pressed the button to view outside. Right, we'll ding the cabin. They can make sure they're all strapped in, get the weather radar on. Let's check transponder is set. And TO config. Right, let's go. Rome traffic, Fenix 320, taxi now via Echo Golf Delta to Holding Point Bravo, Bravo, runway 25. So I do find with this aircraft you need quite a bit more thrust from the engines to begin moving. Whereas the Neo will not run away, but oh, did we not put the taxi light on? My bad. It's okay, there's no other traffic around us. I don't think they noticed. Alright, so heads check, no change to the performance. Engine out procedure is standard, and once passing 1600 feet we'll make a right turn to intercept that 289 radial 19 miles from the Oscar Sierra Tango VOR. That's all planned in the secondary flight plan. Departure is the Saucy 5 Alpha, and our initial climb is flight level 110. Before takeoff checklist to the line. We'll run that in a sec. Just need to make sure we know where we're going. In fact, I'm just going to complete this first turn and join taxiway Delta before we do that. So we get to the end here and turn holding point Echo Golf 1. We're not going to hold, but so you know where we're going. This is the Payware Rome airport. Yes, Squareness, quite right. My office is starting to get very warm now. The sim's been running for a while. Okay, just check our entrance into taxiway Delta is clear. Appears to be. Just as it says that, an aircraft has appeared. Did anybody hear any calls? I've got nothing on. I've got nothing on VATSIM. Nothing at all. So, well, we're just going to have to taxi through them. We're on Unicom, aren't we? Yeah, we made the calls. Non-communicado on VATSIM is not really any good. So, our flight controls have been checked, departure briefing is confirmed, flap setting config 1, FMA takeoff data 151 blue, 153 magenta, climb nav blue, 1FD2, 11,000 blue, flex is 65, I can't see that because of the glare, flex is 66. Transponder is set, ECA memo, takeoff no blue, EFB is stowed. So left here on Delta Mike, and then zigzag across to Bravo Bravo. For someone like me at the moment who doesn't have rudder pedals, and in the Neo having to brake constantly because the aircraft runs away, the Phoenix and the CAO engines is just beautiful because you're not constantly having to brake. Alright, we'll hold our position there and check Again, not heard anything on Unicom. If I turn TCAS on just before we enter the runway, just in case, see if we can see any traffic around us. I don't see anything there. That's all fine then. Okay. Rome traffic, Fenix 320 lining up runway 25, departing to the north on the Saucive 5 Alpha. Okay, the lights are on, pack's coming off, TCAS is on. So HD, the screens are a bit dim. Yeah, that's Microsoft Flight Simulator doing its thing with the glare. If I get the visors down, the screens are a lot better if you're not looking outside. I just had a thought then. Did I close the window? You'd know in real life, wouldn't you? You'd absolutely know in real life. Right. Lined up and good to go. Okay, I'll turn the volume up again. You guys can have a listen. Take off. Start the chrono. Set takeoff thrust. Engine 2 critical. Knots checked. Rotate. Hold through that 10 degrees. Positive rate. Gear up. Thrust climb. Climb. And autopilot 1 engaged. Flaps 0, spoilers disarmed. Is the VATS in flight plan blank? I know what will have happened there. It will have been because we restarted the flight. I'll go ahead and amend that at the minute. Just past the speed constraint there of 200 knots. And that's now accelerating us away. Do you know what? In all the confusion of setting everything up, what was F speed? We didn't clean up too soon, did we? The VNAV should have held the speed constraint. Yeah, we should have put it at S speed. We didn't break the speed constraint. We could have flown at 195 instead of 200. Coming up on 10,000 feet then. Lights are already away. So with no ATC around, let's go straight up to our cruise altitude today, flight level 300. And we'll pop that in open climb. Thanks to those guys reminding me that the flight plan has expired on VATSIM. I'll go ahead and change that in a sec. For anyone following it then, that should be there. Go and change our cost index as well. Get us up quicker. Up we go. Cost index of 0 or 50 because we're late. Thankfully, I don't think it's going to be dark before we get to Innsbruck, so I don't need to get there prior to it going dark. Hopefully get to enjoy a little bit of scenery as well with the new update that hit yesterday. Has everyone got had a chance to go and download that yet and test that out? Hopefully I've got some flight plans now filed, so that should be looking better. Oh, First Officer George is in the house. Hi Wayne, welcome to the chat. Oh, look at that. Right, that's beautiful. I was just listening to those sounds. Everyone loves the Phoenix sounds. That groan, that almost that grating sound. HD, you like having VOR2 on the navigation display as well. Why is that? I could understand if you've manually tuned one of them, but if I turn that on, that should just be showing you the exact same as VOR1, unless you've got it there sort of redundancy, so that if it's not there, then well, you know, one of them's failed, I guess. T-level, can you zoom out in the cockpit first officer seat? What do you mean, sort of like that? I couldn't fly this like that. I need to move my... I need to sort of sit much closer. And I've got a problem then. I can either see what's happening or I can't. It helps with your OCD. HD, is that why? Fair enough. German Flight Simulator, can I activate the overlay? I can now. I was just saving it till we were airborne. We had a crash the desktop earlier, which was Streamlabs' issue, not causing problems, not the Phoenix. But hopefully that should spring to life in a second for you. Oran, have I installed World Update 9? Yes, yep, so that's in there. Everything you see here is with World Update 9 installed. German Flight Simmer, thank you. Because you're at work, you can't always listen, so you mute it, but then you know where we are. That's fair play. We normally always have it working, but I had to restart. I restarted the PC a little bit earlier on in the stream, so we had to. Yeah, we just did things a little bit quicker than normal, and I didn't get that set up. Tell you what I am going to do. I'm going to just open my... I'm going to break the rules. I'm opening my flight deck door. I need a breeze in here. It's quite warm in the UK these last couple of days. There we go. Get a bit of a breeze passing through. First Officer George may pass through as well. You never know. Who's looking forward to the arrival into Innsbruck then? Test my my SOPs for Innsbruck. Marshall asking, so do I prefer the Phoenix or the fly-by-wire? Can't wait for the Phoenix to officially be out, but at the same time it will completely stop using the fly-by-wire as they're doing a great job with it. Well, that's it. I think there's room for both. And when doing real ops flights, I always try and replicate real ops flights. Obviously, at the moment, we're just kind of enjoying what the Phoenix has to offer. But when we've got our EasyJet livery in and we're doing EasyJet real ops, they fly both the Phoenix and the fly-by-wire. We can fly both because they do the NEOs and the CAO engine options. So, so yeah, it's going to be fun to have both options, isn't it? Right, nearly at our cruising level. That's Alt Star. And Alt Cruise. Top of climb checks then. Make sure nothing's untoward on any of the system pages. Do a fuel check in 20 miles at Amtel as well. Just look at the fuel we've used compared to the fuel that we've got on board. That's correct, we don't have a fuel leak. 24 degrees in the cabin. You guys are a bit warm. Hydraulics all good. Fuel slightly off balance, but not enough to require a procedure. That's just because of the amount of time we're on the ground with the APU running, burning off the left side. HD, the all page, is it normal to cycle through each systems page but then revert back to the status page rather than just going straight from top to bottom? I feel like I'm pressing the all button a heck of a lot. System's normal, that's good. We're not flying into the Orbex Innsbruck, no. I'm afraid no. So in terms of some en route weathers then, we'll have a little look at those as well. We'll probably need to check a couple out, maybe look at Pisa and Verona. They're on our route today. So we'll come down to our we never accepted that final load sheet. There we go, that's accepted. Weather, just do a weather request for the METAR. Obviously we want it for our arrival. Oh, can I only send one at a time off? Oh, that's a pain. That will most likely get updated in the future. I mean, can we send that off and then perhaps send another one off? Let's have a look at Verona. That will do. So a bit of information here then for our arrival into Innsbruck. QNH is 1023. We will double check that before we go down. The QNH has got to be absolutely spot on for our arrival. Clouds broken 10,000 feet, that's good. 24 degrees and winds 0406. Oh. Oh, I thought I broke it. Thankfully I haven't. Right, now we're at cruising altitude. Let's start talking about the arrival. So, we're going to be coming in today on the Brno 4 Bravo. At Brno 4 Bravo, we want to be above 1400 feet, but the important point is this waypoint here, LMEM. From LMEM, that is the start of our approach, the RNP Yankee approach. From LMEM, we then fly at 13,000 feet, and our final descent point is Whiskey India 810, or 810 for short. This is the point at which, a couple of miles before Whiskey India 810, we're going to activate the final approach. Now, that is very similar to activating the approach button here in on an ILS approach, but we're going to arm it. We need to be at 13,000 feet, very important that we're at the right altitude, which is also why we need to make sure we've got the correct QNH queued in. So 13,000 feet, local QNH. And as we start to go down here, we're going to be entering the valley, so I want us to be nice and configured. So that's gear down, flaps 3. It seems like a long way out, doesn't it? Well, it's 31 miles out, but nicely configured. We at the absolute minimum configuration, we want flaps 2 and 180 knots. I mean, we're still in the valley at that point, and there is a rule that you want to be 150 knots when you're in the valley, so I'm going to play it nice and safe. We're going to have flaps 3, flaps down by this final descent point, and then what we'll be able to do is we will be able to keep the autopilot engaged for most of this track, and I will only disengage the autopilot at around this point here. Now obviously if you're visual I can disengage it and fly it manually in good weather, but otherwise of course we would be able to fly all the way to sort of Whiskey India 05, and at that point there then we'll come into land. Let's just have a look on the navigation display how that checks out and see what it's looking like. So that is a hard constraint look at LMM. Now I'm going to go in and start editing things here because it's looking at above flight level 130. It wants me to be flying 250 knots. Well, for most places of course that makes sense, doesn't it? Above flight level 100 you will be flying usually at around 250 knots. I don't want that today, so I am going to go in and start editing this. So at LMM we want to make sure we are absolutely at, I don't want to be above 1300 feet, I want to be at, sorry, 1000 feet, I don't want to be above 13,000, I want to be absolutely bang on square. Flight level 130. Now HD, quick discussion point here. We talked about having a nice stabilized approach on this. Would you, if this was you doing this, would you want gear down, flaps 3 at LMM? Bear in mind you've only got 4 miles to run till the final approach, final descent point. Or would you be happy with sort of flaps 2 and then slowing as we go down? It's a steeper descent path, 3.7, so I would presume you'd want a fully stabilized approach, or not fully stabilized, but flaps 3, gear down, and that way we can just concentrate on everything as we're going. But the main thing is I don't want to be doing 250 knots, so I am going to go ahead and amend that. That way the aircraft will know that that's the plan that I've got. Gear down, flaps 3, by 810, 15 knots in the valley. Sounds good. Flaps 2 by LMM. Again, that makes sense. So this is LMM. I'm going to go 180 knots here. Insert. But then after LMM by here, just bring that chart up again. There it is, the fix there, and that's at 1300 feet, isn't it? Yeah. Where is that point? Why does it appear to be missing? I was looking to hard tune 150 knots at 810. isn't there? We've got 13 and 14 in there. That's all the way down here. That's no good. What approach have we got in? So we should be flying the RNP Yankee for runway 08. Can we insert it? Should it be there automatically? I would have thought so. Okay, let's insert it then. It is a waypoint, so we should be able to code it in. Whiskey India 810. It's a very important point because that's where we're going to start heading down. Whiskey India 810. At this point, so in fact, I probably don't need that because I'm already going to be at 13,000 feet anyway, but speed will be 150. Insert. Ah, look, it's going to... Yeah, I am going to have to put that in. Oh, it's not an overfly. Come on, click the right button. H says we shouldn't technically do this. Yeah, you shouldn't be sort of making up approach points, so I'm not quite sure why that's missing there. Right, now we can hit that constraint. What's the next one? Because it is missing, isn't it? So after 810 we should have 811 and 812 are missing. 11 and 12 are in a straight line, so I probably could get away with that. Can we clear that speed limitation? Because that shouldn't be there. It will be a shame if it doesn't work. Let's have a look what we've got in here now. So now we've got LMM 810, 150 knots, 130. That's right. Delete that speed limitation. Insert. Too steep path, it's telling me at this point. Well, the next one after 810 should be 811. Again, 150 knots and altitude constraint of 10,600. 1060. So checking this is correct. 810. 150, 130. 811, 150, 106. We then need 812. Let's clear that up. Which will go in here. Whiskey India 812. That goes there. And that's going to be 96. Insert. Now, to be fair, we might not be at 150 knots, we might start to slow down anyway. Because we can fly it at final approach speed, can't we? There's our go around track, so that's all in. So now that is all there, and they're all in the right place. Turn the constraints on as well. We'll see. They're all there, they're all coded. Alright, well the weather's good. We shall see when we get there. What I'm hoping is the VDEV will come, lock on, and then it should work from there. But I guess be prepared for it not to work. Yeah. If it doesn't work, then our workload will increase significantly. Top of descent is in around 110 miles. So the plan then is, as we've almost just gone through the plan anyway manually. So the plan will be 13,000 feet at LMEM, then 2 miles before Whiskey India 810 we will engage final approach mode. We are going to be flaps 3. I am doing it fully configured, or at least not fully configured, because we'll not set full flaps until we're lower down, but flaps 3, landing gear down, 2 miles before Whiskey India 810. We'll fly that then at F speed all the way down. If it doesn't work, then I'll be in Nav FPA mode, and our FPA will be 3.7? Yeah, closer to 3.8. So that's it. Workload management will be the same now because we're expecting it. I'm not sure I agree. Weather data. Let's see. Oh, right, okay. So that was the other... what was that? Verona that we checked out? Yeah, that's wide open as well. Phoenix Ops. Send a delay code for 58 minutes. Wow. 58 minutes. Well, I don't know. What should we go with? Incorrect departure time, new route, fueling. Oh, there we go. ESM, simulator restart. ESM. Now you see, the fact that the devs have put that in there tells me that whilst building the Phoenix, they had several simulator restarts. That is another option as well, isn't it, HD? Could we potentially use managed descent? If we get it down to... what was the lowest? 8,300, I think. Let me see. I'll enter the destination data in a minute. Yeah, so if it wasn't working, if we set managed descent and... well, actually, it's got 7,100 there, hasn't it? That's not on my chart for some reason. The lowest one I've got on the chart is 8,300. But here it's got Yeah, let's get 7,100, which we could work with. If it's not working, then weather's good, and we shall see. QNH in Innsbruck is 1023. The temperature is 24 degrees. That sounds nice. Winds are 0406. Transition altitude 130. And the barrow 7,100. That's that point where we need to be visual by the runway, isn't it? Which will be this visual segment from here, 814. There. Maxim throwing in that as well, spotting it. That's the minimums, isn't it? So 7,100 would appear correct. Indeed. Should we just relax for a minute and enjoy the view? Yeah. So talking about the RNP Zulu approach, that's the RNP AR, the approval required approach. And we can't do that in the CEO. We can do it in the fly-by-wire. We can do it in that when that's working and available. So HD is suggesting we arm the approach after 813. As we approach 814, we'll be able to see if it works. Can we try it earlier, do you reckon, if we've got the VDev brick? So what we should have been able to do, is be 13,000 here at Elmham, arm the final approach mode a couple of miles away from Whiskey India 810, and it should then attract it all the way down, but because we've had to put these in ourselves, it might not do. So we're prepared for what might not work. If the Rnav brick appears, we can try it. Of course, we don't actually turn the Rnav brick on, do we? It should just appear on its own. If it appears, great. And we're not to put on the LS push buttons. We don't need those. Right. That's the approach. What if we get that far and then something goes wrong? Well, let's just have a quick look at the airport itself. So we're going auto brake medium for this. We'll vacate at Bravo. Of course, if we do miss that for whatever reason, then we'll turn around and then come back. Let's have a look at the go around. Now it's an RNAV go around here as well. So if we had to go around, we continue, for whatever reason, we continue the approach and then we fly the go-around track. So it would be, so we call the go-around, go toga, go-around flaps, positive rate, check the FMAs, gear up, and we want to pull speed. That is quite important. We want to pull speed to 150 knots. Holding a low speed will get us up and away from the terrain, out the valley quicker. So that is one thing that we wouldn't normally do. Now, interestingly enough, let's have a look at the thrust reduction and acceleration values here for the go-around, because they are most certainly not 2,900 feet. I am trying to remember this off the top of my head. Is it 10,000 feet, I think, if we're flying westbound? I think it's 10,000 feet. And eastbound, I think, is 7,000 feet. So let's just go ahead. Is it 9,000, Christian? I honestly can't remember. I think I've got it written in a brief somewhere. Who wrote that brief? Oh yeah, we're coming from the west. We're flying eastbound. Eastbound is 7,000. Westbound is 10,000. How long until our top of descent? About 50 miles to run. Did I still put the wrong one in? Oh, 7,000 feet. I think I've got some ambiguity in the notes that I've got. I'll update those after this. This is why everybody loves Innsbruck, isn't it? It's just not Faro. What's that company message? Is that just telling me, okay, they've accepted the fact that I was late? Oh, it's just telling me they've received the reason we were late. Faro, Faro, tomato, tomato. we all like Faro, it's easy. Not to be confused with Paro, which is absolutely not easy. We've got just under 5 tons of fuel on board. We're coming to Dickham. Let's check how that fuel's looking. Right, how much extra fuel did we take? We loaded 7.5 tons, which is 1.345, 1.5 tons more with the contingency fuel. So we should have around 4.7 tons in there. 4.7, 4.8 tons. 4.9. All good. So we would be all right. go around. Right, auto brake medium. Get the terrain radar on. Gonna have some lovely colours on the navigation display coming in here. See, when you're sat there as a passenger enjoying the beautiful views out of the cabin window, you hope the guys in the flight deck know what they're doing. Of course they know what they're doing. We're still learning our new aircraft, adding in missing waypoints. You wouldn't be allowed to do that. I mean, it is a decent day. Isn't there a visual procedure available as well for this runway? But you have to have flown it before, and obviously it requires pilot certification. So that's the one you're not allowed to do. You can do it in the Neo, but not here in the CEO. Then lock DME East. I'm pretty certain we don't do that in an A320. What kind of descent angle gradient is that? 4.7. Visual circle to land, so obviously coming in the opposite runway and then flying this circle to land procedure. I mean, that is tough. Has an A320 ever done that in real life? A320, I think, isn't it certified to do, is it 4 degrees? Is that the maximum? 4 degrees the maximum for the Airbus. And then look at this. I mean, you're talking light aircraft stuff here. Turn radius of 0.9. Chemo, she did the localizer to get down and the visual circle to land. Yeah, it's good fun in a simulator. I wouldn't want to do it in real life. A little bit of turbulence now as we start to enter the Alps region. Carlos, did I have to edit the aircraft CG to get the cabin views in? No, I didn't. No. The great thing about this is you're not limited to moving around the flight deck with your left and right key arrows. You are until you open the flight deck door, and then you can actually just walk out of it. And then set up your views. Okay, so we're going all the way down now. Flight level 130. It's going to be altitude 130, isn't it? Okay. Descent. And 130. This will be the only stream for today as well, guys. I need a break after this one. A German flight simmer? God no. Absolutely not. Right, here comes the turbulence. One big floppy boy, you'd love to fly this aircraft into Paro. I don't actually know. Can Paro actually accept an A320? It does the A319, doesn't it? We've all seen those videos. But does it accept the 320? Yes, that's one thing I didn't brief, but we need to get the APU running. An APU bleed on for this. So as we start to head down, we'll get the anti-ice on, ding the cabin nice and early, give them time to get strapped in their seats. Maxim Air Bhutan's got some A320 Neos flying into Paro now. Oh wow, that's that is impressive. Okay, we're going to get that APU started. So the procedure for this is you have the APU on. Once the APU's been running a minute or so, you can then turn off one of the packs, turn APU bleed on, and then turn that pack back on. Minimum safe altitude around here as well, guys, is 13,200 feet. Christian, I can't turn anti-ice off. I'm about to fly through some visible moisture, and it's well within the regions. When we get down, we can turn that off, but not on the descent. APU is running. We'll just give that a minute. Look at us rocking left and right. So you want the APU on and taking care of the bleed air by 15,000 feet. So we've done that nice and early. It's been running long enough, so we'll turn pack 1 off. APU bleeds on, then turn that back on. So the packs are now being supplied by the APU. Why have we got a pack 2 fault? Ah, there we go. Just while the APU took over. Right, so nearly time to really start concentrating. As such, we'll kill the music. Turn that wing anti-ice off. There we go. M3, did they create the cockpit themselves, or did they use the Azobo one? No, everything is their own modelling. German Flight Sim, I need exclamation marks on HD's posts because they make them stand out in the chat for me. If it hasn't got an exclamation mark, I don't read it. Might be my imagination, you know, but I wonder if the heat blast you can see from the engines there, I wonder if that's bigger when the engines are running stronger. I'm going to have to test that. Not now, though. Right, I'm going to activate the approach phase. I want to start slowing down. We have a VDEV brake. Okay, so we're now at green dot. I'm going to start configuring ourselves as we're leveling off at 13,000 feet. So flaps 1, speed's checked. Flaps 1. Just fighting with some turbulence to get down to 13, isn't it? But there we go, it's keeping us nice on profile. Flaps 2, speed's checked. Flaps 2. And I'm going to start reducing the speed myself now. .150 knots. I'm going to arm the approach a couple of miles from 810, and hopefully this will this will work. We're prepared for it not to, just in case, because we had to amend some waypoints. Approach nav. Gear down. Because I'm doing a nice stabilized approach, so we're all ready. Flaps 3. Speeds checked. Flaps 3. Now this needs to start going down, hopefully. Is it going to do it? I don't think it is it? Right. We do have the VDEV to follow though, so let's see. We'll catch that up. We're in track FPA, and if we can catch that back up, it may arm itself when it aligns with the waypoints that we didn't have to put in. That is a good point. We could use managed descent because of the waypoints we did put in, didn't we? Right, I'll tell you what, let me set that. Set the minimums, which was 7,100. Let's put that in managed descent. So thrust idle, descent. $10,800 at 811. Continuing down to 9,600 by 812. Fat sim traffic. Innsbruck traffic, Fenix 320 on final approach runway 08, RNP Yankee arrival. Right, if we level off here, we'll get ourselves down to our final approach speed. So I'm going to start slowing us down there. Final approach has now kicked in. HD, you want us to maintain 150. Fair enough. We'll increase by 5 knots. Holding that till we're visual with the runway, and then we can get fully configured. Landing checklist. Thank you. Now, what concerns me was what happens in 10 miles' time. They weren't there a minute ago. Is that because they needed to be... I see. It's because it's on the too steep path. Don't worry, they are programmed in. It wasn't on the navigation display. That concerned me a little bit. But they are there, and it is following it.
Last station again.
Innsbruck traffic, Fenix 320 on final approach, runway 08. Currently 10 mile final. Correction, 12 miles. We may have to fly this manually. I can't clear
100 above.
the too steep path, obviously. So I think we're taking this ourselves.
VA 2.5 tickets running at 503, correction, 240.
I'm not sure if the VDEV is still working either, to be honest. The snow is also making the airport quite difficult to find. Flaps full. Landing checklist. Cabin is secured. Auto thrust
Terrain
speed.
ahead. Pull up.
Go around altitude
Terrain
9,500
ahead.
set.
Pull up.
Eco memo.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
VA 291, time for reach level 364.
We haven't got the landing no blue. Let's just clear that message.
$2,500.
I think the scenery is popping in, isn't it? Can anybody see the runway yet? Hopefully we're not too close to those hills. Terrain radar looks okay. The other flight director's not turned off.
$1,000.
Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead.
Not the time
Pull
for a
up.
VATSIM message.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
Honestly, guys, where's the runway? There we go. We are too low. We are too low. Level her off. Runway is now in sight. Is it really covered in snow this much?
500.
I tell you what, I'm having to fight the turbulence that it's coming with as well.
Forty, 30, 20, retard.
Spoilers deployed. No, they're not. We didn't arm them. Ah! All went wrong. Well, that could have gone better. I come off of VATSIM because, well, we made the calls there, but obviously aircraft in the way. Does this guy want us? He's got a very small tug. Anywhere in front of the terminal is good, I think. Before we blind everyone in the terminal, let's just turn our lights off. And then what I'd like to do, just before we leave, is we'll do a little debrief, just to say what worked, what didn't work. But before we go any further, we'll take those off, turn the landing lights off, turn the terrain radar off. We don't want to fry anyone on the ground. Right, let's just park up. There are no actual parking spaces here either, not in the default Azobo scenery. We just park anywhere. There we go. Parking brakes are on. APU is of course already running, so we can shut down engine 1, shut down engine 2. Seatbelt signs off. Below 10% M1 we'll get the beacon light off. Fuel pumps. And then we'll do, I don't mind doing a little bit of a debrief, because obviously things went wrong there. A couple of sim issues, a couple of my issues, deboarding. There we go. So I think it's worth talking about. So let's go back right to the very, very start, where we noticed after programming the approach, some of the waypoints were missing. So we entered them in ourselves. Whiskey 810, 811, 812, and then I think 13 and 14 might have they would have been in there, wouldn't they? So 13 and 14 I think were in there. The one of the other issues then We were expecting that the VDEV may not work, but thankfully it did to a certain degree. So we had all of that working to a point, but then the VDEV scale, even though we armed the final approach, it obviously didn't capture it because I think, does that only start at 813 or something like that? I can't remember where that actually began. But because we got the constraints in, we could use our final our descent mode, because it would then target the it could target the constraints that we'd programmed in. That worked for a certain point, and then it captured the VDEV scale and final approach mode armed. What then happened, and perhaps again, obviously, there's something that we do need to look at, is why some of the waypoints after that were actually missing. Now, what I should have done then is gone in to check if they are missing. Then we can obviously enter them, why they're missing. Have I put in the wrong approach? We didn't put in the wrong approach, but for some reason some of the waypoints weren't in the database. So not quite sure why that is. I don't know if anyone else plans on flying this approach at any point soon. You can check that. Bear in mind, the database that I'm using is the Navigraph database as well. So again, unsure as to why they weren't there. Anyway, we got ourselves sort of in a good position around here, but then when we realised that the discontinuity was coming up, we had no track left to follow. We obviously knocked flight directors off, disengaged autopilot, carried on, and I flew it visually. I then became disorientated. I was looking for the runway and I couldn't see it. I could see the big wash of snow on the ground. And I'm thinking, it's got to be there somewhere in the snow. I'll see it in a minute, I'll see it in a minute. And then, too late, I noticed actually the airport was behind the snow line. And it was actually further out than I imagined that it was going to be. So, in the real world, we would have gone around. In the real world, we'll have gone around because I didn't have the runway in sight by 7,100 feet, which was our missed approach point. Obviously, here in the simulator, we've got license to do things. But if we were flying sort of a real ops, if you like, then we'd have had to go around to do it again. The difference being, going around doing it again, we'd have been much better prepared for the visual that we were going to see the second time round. So, a little bit of a debrief here from HD. So the waypoints after 814 were missing because they're the missed approach waypoints. You have to fly it visually after 814. The bit HD missed because it wasn't the RNP visual approach. It was the standard RNP approach, which only takes you as far as 814. Right, okay, so potentially we also briefed the wrong approach then, because the way we had briefed this was to fly and be visual with the airport by Whiskey India 814, which is just here. And we even briefed them we'd leave the autopilot on all the way down until we could see the runway at this point and then turn it off around here. That was our brief. Unfortunately, we briefed the wrong approach. So we had to be visual by this point. And that caught me out. I wasn't expecting that. So we didn't have the runway in sight. I certainly didn't have the airport environment in sight either. So there you go. I became a bit lost in the snow. Little mistake from HD, who was owning up to that as well. We kind of briefed it a little bit wrong as well. But you know what? That's okay. That's okay. It's a simulator, and it's also a tough approach. And I don't mind if things go wrong. Regulars to the channel will have regularly seen things go wrong. But yeah, in the end, we got down. One of the things I forgot to do as well, because the landing gear was down so early, I didn't arm the spoilers. They would automatically deploy anyway below 72 knots, so fair enough. But yeah, right approach. Sorry, right approach, but incorrect understanding of the approach. But never mind. One day we'll come back here with our EasyJet livery, do a real ops flight, and if things start to go very wrong on the approach, we will go around and do it properly. But there we go. So I think that almost just about covers it. That's my only live stream for today, guys. I'm gonna have a Phoenix break, but then we will be back tomorrow. Maybe we'll fly to somewhere like Faro, where Faro. Don't have to think quite so much, unless of course we have a failure en route and we're downgraded. In which case, something like an auto thrust failure. Oh man, can you imagine having to use auto thrust? I'm not a Lufthansa pilot. I don't do auto thrust. So there you go. No issues with the nav database. No issues with the aircraft. Just issues with the guys behind it. There you go. Right. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you've all enjoyed our stream today, once again showcasing the wonderful Phoenix aircraft. Thank you so much to those of you who have liked, shared, donated, contributed to the stream. HD, of course, for all your guidance, and to the EasyJet Sim Pilot channel members, thank you so much. To the new ones who arrived today as well, make sure you get yourself in our Discord server, and obviously I'll be around on there later today as well. Alright, my friends, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Have a great Wednesday, everyone. Bye bye.